As you build a sequence, you'll slot in the major components, but then you'll need to go back and adjust your edits to perfect the timing and eliminate any small errors. That's where trimming comes in. Premiere offers a plethora of ways that you can trim your clips, so let's learn how these work. Here I have an edit that you're somewhat familiar with because some of these things we built together in a previous exercise. The audio is telling stories around the world of whale sharks, and I have a variety of clips that I'm using that accompany the audio. I'll just go ahead and play this all the way through so you're familiar with what we're working with. As you watch this, you'll notice in the beginning the clips coincide with the changes in the story, but near the end the clips don't necessarily sync in with the story, so we're going to make some adjustments in this portion of the project. But let me play it all the way through so that you know what we're working on. One of my favorite names for whale sharks is Mariketana. This is what they call whale sharks in Madagascar. It translates to many stars, which I think is such a beautiful description of these amazing creatures. All around the world there are many stories of whale sharks. They possess unique cultural values in many countries. In Borneo, whale sharks are often sighted near fishing boats. They are believed to be sacred animals, and the locals are forbidden from capturing the sharks. There's a story of a whale shark that rescues someone who nearly drowned in the middle of the sea. On the island of Java, people believe that the whale shark is the ancestor of every fish in the ocean. They call it ancestor shark. There, whale sharks are revered as protectors of the sea. Anyone who encounters a whale shark are encouraged to offer gifts to the animal. Other places, people refer to the whale shark as the moon shark. The fishermen wait for the first whale shark sighting, which designates the start of the fishing season. In Papua New Guinea, there's a village that's home to whale sharks. The translation for whale sharks is starry sharks. This name comes from the pattern of white spots adorning each whale shark. It reminds the local community of the star constellations. They believe that the starry sharks bring good fortune and prosperity to the village and forbid capturing and harming the animals. I love these stories that are told around the world about the amazing starry shark, that once you behold it, you will forever be touched by their beauty. So as you see, near this section of our project, there are some adjustments that we can make so that this flows a little bit better. So let's see how we can go about making these changes. I'm going to hit my plus key, which is going to allow me to zoom in on my timeline. You can use minus to zoom out and plus to zoom in. Plus will always zoom in around the location of your playback head. Let's go ahead and review the project from right here. So as you can see, there's a small edit that we could use where before the audio says other places, it would be nice to adjust our transition. Let me zoom out for a minute. If I go ahead and position my mouse right here and we pull to the left to adjust that, you'll see that we end up with a gap. Instead of doing this, I'm going to use one of my trim tools. We'll be working with the ripple tool, and you'll notice in Premiere in the toolbar, some of the tools have little tiny triangles in the lower right-hand corner. This is an indication that these tools have other sub-tools located underneath them. As I mentioned, we'll be using the ripple tool. The keyboard shortcut to access this tool is B. Let's zoom in this location. If I go ahead and position my mouse over the clip, depending on what side of the clip I'm on, you'll see a yellow arrow. This is indicating the clip that we're going to be augmenting. So when we use the ripple tool, if the yellow arrow is pointing to the left, I'm going to be affecting that clip. So if I click, hold, and drag here, you can see that I can adjust the duration of the left-hand clip. But when I release my mouse, rather than creating a gap, it's pulled the adjacent clip to the left as well. What happens when you use the ripple edit tool is it trims the clip and ripples the rest of the clips in the timeline. This effectively will close the gap between the two edit points instantly at the point where you make the edit. At this section of our project, it looks pretty good, but if we scroll over to the end of the project, you'll notice that now the ending clip does not sync up with the end of the timeline. And that's because when we used our ripple edit, we essentially pulled everything to the right of the clip that we were editing over to the left. And in essence, we're making the video a little bit shorter, so now it doesn't sync up with the audio. What I'll do is I'll click undo to get back to where we were before. Instead of the ripple tool, let's take a look at the rolling tool. The rolling edit tool is another trim tool that you can use to fine-tune adjustments. However, when we use the rolling tool, and the keyboard shortcut for this is N, instead of trimming a clip and rippling the rest of the timeline, you perform a rolling edit by moving the edit point either forwards or backwards in the sequence. This can be a little confusing at first, so let's just take a look. If I position the rolling tool in the same location and I pull to the left, you will see that I'm not able to do anything to this clip on the left. But if I pull to the right, I am able to extend this clip out. What's happening when we're using the rolling tool is it depends on the handles that are part of the clips that are adjacent. If we double click on the clip to the right and we look in the source monitor, you're going to see that the clip fills the source monitor. So there's no handle material that we can use to add onto this clip. If I double click on the clip on the left, you'll see that the out point is set at the beginning of the clip, so we have plenty of handle material. That's why when we use the rolling tool, we're able to drag to the right, because there's enough handle material so that we can show more of this clip. So neither of these solutions are going to work for our purposes here. What I'll do is I'll go back to the ripple tool, and we're simply going to ripple to the playback head. This will allow us to trim a little bit off of this clip on the left. When we use the ripple tool, if we scroll to the end, you'll see how the ending clip does not line up, but we're going to need to adjust this anyways, so we'll fix this in just a moment. Now that we have this clip lined up, let's zoom out a little bit by clicking minus, and let's play the remaining part of our project. Other places, people refer to the whale shark as the moon shark. The fishermen wait for the first whale shark sighting, which designates the start of the fishing season. In Papua New Guinea, right here, before I say in Papua New Guinea, I want to show this next clip. This clip is an overall clip of the whale shark, and I think it will fit really nicely when I talk about the translation of whale shark from in Papua New Guinea. So let's position our playback head at the appropriate location. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the rolling edit tool. If we use the rolling edit tool, and let me zoom in a little bit by clicking plus, you can see that if I click on this clip on the left and click, hold, and drag, we're going to in essence be trimming that clip. But because we have plenty of handle material on the adjacent clip, it's going to extend that clip and make that clip a little bit longer. So if we rewind and watch this section of our project, are encouraged to offer gifts to the animal. Other places, people refer to the whale shark as the moon shark. The fishermen wait for the first whale shark sighting, which designates the start of the fishing season. In Papua New Guinea, there's a village that's home to whale sharks. The translation for whale sharks is starry sharks. This name comes from the pattern of white spots adorning each whale shark. It reminds the local community of the star constellations. They believe that the starry sharks bring good fortune and prosperity to the village and forbid capturing and harming the animals. I like that much better. Now what we'll do is we'll switch back to the ripple tool. We'll click on this clip on the left and we'll click, hold, and drag to trim that clip to the playback head. At this point, I'll come to the end of the remaining clip and we're just going to click, hold, and drag since we have plenty of handle material to extend the duration of that clip. So now, after we finish talking about the Papua New Guinea situation, the last portion of our audio is going to sync up with this final clip. Let's take a quick look. They believe that the starry sharks bring good fortune and prosperity to the village and forbid capturing and harming the animals. I love these stories that are told around the world about the amazing starry shark. That looks much better. Now we've refined the edits. Using the ripple and the rolling edit tool allow us to fine-tune and adjust the clips. Just remember that the ripple tool allows you to trim a clip without leaving a gap. The ripple edit means moving an edit point and causing the rest of the timeline to move the same amount to compensate. The rolling edit means moving an edit point without affecting the rest of the timeline. The first outgoing clip is going to be made shorter, while the second incoming clip is going to be made longer by the same amount, or vice versa. So the net effect is that the overall length of the program will not be altered. You will get a lot of use out of these two tools. Knowing when to use them and practicing using them will allow you to become more comfortable, and you'll be able to refine your sequences so that you can create the perfect edit.